Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. In this video I'd like to show you how to work a split granny square. In this case it's a solid granny square with all double crochet stitches, but what's interesting about this square is that one half of the square, so the triangle, is white and the other half is blue. And you're working this simultaneously, so you're working with two colors of yarn, carrying them with you, changing at the right places. I'm going to show you how I work this. I do my color changes in the chain 2 corner spaces, and then I work over the corners in the following round, so that way to get them nice and neat, to get this line nice and straight. Here you can see how where I've done the chain 2 to close the rounds, but this could also have been in the blue. I've just decided to start in the white. What I'll show you is how to start. The start is a little fiddly here in the beginning, but by the time you get to round 3 it's much easier and it's just plain sailing. So I'll show you how to take the yarn with you, how to carry the yarn up from one row to the next, and how to do this color change here in the chain 2 to get this beautiful split granny square. In this case it's a solid, so all double crochets, but if you would do different stitches the concepts are exactly the same. But I'll take you step by step through the first 3 rounds, and after that I'm sure you can grow this square as large as you would like it to be. So we're going to start round 1 with just one color yarn. I've got one color yarn on my hook. Doesn't matter which one you start with. I'm going to start with the white. I'm going to do the start of a granny square, so I'm just going to do a chain 4, 3, 4, and then close this chain 4 with a ring, or with a slip stitch to form a ring. Now in this ring I'm going to work the first round. I'm going to do a chain 3, you can also do a chain 2, I'm actually going to do a chain 2. This is my first double crochet. Then in the ring, so open that up, I'm going to do the second double crochet. Chain 2 to make the corner, and now I'm going to do 3 double crochets in the ring. So 1 and 2 and 3 double crochets. Now this is the point where we're going to add that second color. I'm going to do that with the chain 2 that forms the corner. So I'm going to do chain 1 in the white. Now I'm going to take the blue yarn, this one. I'm going to do the second chain with that blue yarn. And now I'm going to continue with the blue yarn, and while I do so I'm just going to cover and work over my working white yarn. For the moment I'm just going to leave the yarn tails for the white and the blue. I'm just going to leave that apart, but I'm going to work over the yarn tail, my working yarn. I'm just carrying that with me. Then in the ring work a double crochet in the blue. You see I'm working over the white yarn that I'm taking with me, because I need this to do when I need to go back to white again. So I'm just going to work 3 double crochets, then do a chain 2, which is again a corner, and then do 3 double crochets again. So this is for the 4th edge. 1, 2 and 3. There you go. 3 double crochets. You can see where I'm at now. I've worked those 2 edges and I've worked this one, and this one, remember, we only did the first 2. So I'm going to again in the chain change color back to the white and then complete that last stitch. Oh, here we come. I've got the blue yarn coming. So I'm going to do a chain 1 in the blue, and then pick up my white yarn, And now be sure to take your working yarn and not the yarn tail, because you'll be amazed how easy it is to take the wrong yarn here. And then with the working yarn, with the white, do that second chain. Now my loop is just opening up a bit, and there. And don't worry that these tails seem rather long here. You'll notice that as you work that doesn't matter. And then come back and work that last double crochet, because you had the chain 2, which was the first one here, and then that double crochet that next one. So we're going to close here on the chain 2 with a slip stitch, and while I do so, I'm just going to bring my blue yarn up. The thing is, you need to take this yarn with you, because you're going to need it next time round. So I'm just going to bring, sorry, I need the white yarn, but I need to work over the blue yarn. And when it's still small, it's a little fiddly. I've got the white yarn that I'm going to work the slip stitch with, and then I'm just going to work also over that blue yarn. You see, I've got both threads there, and now I work the slip stitch. And what this has made is a very, very small granny with 2 white edges and 2 blue edges. If you look at the back, it's still a little messy, but when we do the next round, you'll notice that this cleans up. And you can see here how I've taken that blue thread with me up. If I just look at it this way, and this is my working yarn, that one. You can see how I've brought that up with me in that slip stitch. And this is my working white yarn, and this is my blue yarn tail, and this is my white yarn tail. So those I don't need. Now I'm ready to work round 2. And once you've got round 2 up, you'll notice that it just goes much easily to work around 3, 4, 5, or however big you want your square to be. So let's work round 2. So for round 2, I'm still going to be working in the white thread. And one thing you'll also notice is that your yarn tends to tangle a bit. That's kind of normal. So every once in a while, just untangle your yarn and make sure that you've got the right, just as you've got the white with the white and the blue with the blue, that you don't have the yarns tangled. I'm going to start again with a chain 2 here. This is my first double crochet. If you want to do a chain 3 here, also fine, perfect. I'm going to work over the blue yarn, so I'm going to carry that with me, because when you get here you need the blue yarn, so you need to take it with you. In the next stitch, work a double crochet and over that blue yarn, just going to work over it and work a double crochet. In the chain 2 space, work a corner, so this is going to be 2 doubles, chain 2 and 2 doubles, working over the blue thread. If you depending on your tension, you might or might not see the thread, but ideally you make sure that you can't see it. See, that's completely covered. See here, it's to the back. I'm working over it. The next 3 stitches, going to work 3 white double crochets on those, one on each, still working over the blue thread. See, I'm working over there, blue thread, now I'm to the corner, and here I'm going to work 2 stitches in white, do a chain 2, changing color, and then work 2 stitches in blue. That's what I'm going to do here. And that's my yarn tail, that's my working yarn. So work 2 stitches in white, so 1 and 2, chain 1, and then change colors to the blue, take the right thread. Again, it's very easy to take the wrong one here. And then make the second chain in the blue. And one thing you'll notice that I've done is I've made sure that white thread that was from that's that thread there, that was the changing thread, is here on the right, and that the blue thread is here on the left. So if you're left-handed, everything will be the other way around. So that will have them the other way around. So because it's very easy when you do this corner that you accidentally move this blue thread to the other side, and that's not gonna look nice if you've got the blue thread there. So you really want to make sure that your white is to the one side and the blue is to the other. And because in the larger square, when you look at it, you won't notice those threads unless they're on the wrong side. So that's just the one thing you really want to pay attention to when you're changing colors. And now in that square, or in the space, work the second half of the corner. So it's 2 double crochets in the blue. And this time I'm working over the white thread. Continue and work 3 double crochets in the blue. So 1 on the and you see while I'm doing so, 2, I'm working over the white thread, taking it with me. I'm actually also working over my blue yarn tail, just connecting that to the square. But especially important here, I'm working over this white thread, I'm taking it with me. The corner. Here no color change, so it's 2 doubles and 1 color. Chain 2. And I need some more blue, and 2. 1. And 2. 3 blue double crochets on this edge. So 1, 2, and 3. And now we're onto a chain 2 corner, and you'll see again here that it looks a little messy, but it's not, don't worry. I'm going to work 2 double crochets in blue, then change colors during the corner, and then complete the corner with the white. So I'm going to yarn over, and what's important here is again keep your threads separated. So really in that space, pushing the white to the one side, the blue to the other, because if you work here, you're going to force this blue thread to the wrong side. So really make sure that when you work the stitches, that you've got the white to the one and the blue to the other side. Then in that space, work 2 blue double crochets. And that's the second one. 2. Oh dear, you see what I've done there? You see how I've worked that second one? Pushing that white thread to the other side. I don't want that, so I'm just going to work that again. And this is just going to give you the quality in your work that you're looking for. See, now you've got them separated. Chain 1 in 1 color, and now change colors back to the white. And that is this thread here, back to the white, for the second chain. And these 2 chains, when you're changing color, keep them a little loose, because you'll notice if you pull them too tight that your corners don't become square, that they kind of pull inward. So give these 2 chain stitches enough room to breathe. And now we're going to complete the corner with 2 white double crochets. And you see, as I'm working over here, I'm kind of covering that color chain stitch from the previous round, and you see there's that little white thread, that little stripe there that's now being pushed to one side, and now you get a nice neat edge here with all the white to the one side and the blue to the other side. I've got 1 stitch left to do here in white. I'm just going to carry my working thread with me, and not my yarn tail. That's the yarn tail, that's the working thread. Well, they both want to come, well then they both come, that's fine. and then the last stitch is close again on the chain 2 with a slip stitch, and bring up your working yarn. So also that blue working yarn, I'm also going to cover that with the slip stitch. So here to the back, you see that's the yarn tail there. If I just pull that aside, then you see here that stripe, how I've brought that working yarn up. You see there how I've also brought that working yarn up. So this is inevitable that you'll see those stripes to the back when you're bringing the yarn up. So I've now worked 2 rounds. I'll work a 3rd round with you also. Now for round 3, we're in essence going to do exactly the same as we've done in round 2. Going to work white stitches, carrying the blue yarn. When we get here to the corner, we're going to change, and then work blue stitches carrying the white yarn, and then finish here. Just show you the start or this round again. So that's chain 2. This is again for my first double crochet. You can do a chain 3 here if you prefer. Then in the first stitch, that's the next one there, and that can sometimes be hard to see. Carry the blue yarn with me, work a double crochet, and in the next 2 also until you get to the corner. I'm just going to work a little faster here. In the corner, work 2 doubles, chain 2, still carrying the blue yarn, and 2 doubles, and 2. Work a double crochet in every stitch. That's 1, 2, and if the neater you work this, the harder it will be to see the blue yarn from the front. So it is possible to completely cover your work with the to cover the carrying yarn, but you know, if you've got a very dark colored yarn with a very light colored yarn, it is just harder to cover that completely. And then in the corner here, I seem to have missed a stitch here, I'm not sure, anyway, because I've got a bit of a gap there that I can't really explain, that gap there. Then here again, keeping the white to the white. Oh dear, again. 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Again, going to change colors, so chain 1 and then change to the blue. Here's my blue yarn. And now work 2 blue double crochets, and in the process covering those stitches that I used to change colors last time. Work a double crochet on every stitch, carrying the white yarn, especially that first one, don't accidentally miss it. What you could do here, if you don't like that little piece of yarn there that you've got from the change from the previous round, is grab it from the back. See, now I've got that little piece of yarn there also. Grab that also and just work it in with this stitch. You see, that'll make your hole here where you've done the corner just a little bit bigger. You see there. So you see there, you see that little stripe there, but now you don't, because I've grabbed it from the back. This is an option. This is you don't not necessary, but this does help you to get this edge even cleaner if you just grab that little thread from the back. Now I'm still working over the white. Just work a double crochet on every stitch. Until you're to the corner, where you're going to work just the normal corner again. So 2 doubles, chain 2 and 2 doubles, and then I need more yarn. And when we're at the end of round 3, I'm just going to stop with the video, but as such you could make this square in 4 rounds, 5 rounds, 10 rounds, kind of depends on what you're going for, what a pattern calls for. And I'm just working these last stitches here. And these split granny squares, they're really great for making geometric patterns, so you can also make your own designs and play with these geometric shapes and make the most beautiful patterns. And now I've got 2 more to go, and here's the last one. And again here, if you want to, you see there's that little yarn there that we use from changing colors, so if you want to you could grab that thread also here, which is going to be over there. But this is optional. If you don't want to, just leave it, don't worry. I'm just going to grab that also. That'll again help to just make this gap neat and crisp. And then work 2 double crochets here in the space. This one in the blue. Again, being sure to push that white thread to the other side. See, there's the white thread from the previous row's color change. Then change colors again, so that's 1 in the blue, and then I take 1 in the white, 1 in the white, and complete the corner, so that's 2 more double crochets now with the white yarn, and 2. Going to complete this edge, so that's there. If you want to, grab that thread there, you see there, if you take it with you, it'll just make this corner again crispier. So you see how now you don't see any of those carrying threads in that hole because you've worked them all away. And there we go, and 2 more here, 2 double crochets, again working over that blue yarn, over that blue yarn. And now close here with a slip stitch, bringing the blue yarn also up to the next level. Sounds like a computer game, bringing things up to the next level. What you do see, and if this bothers you, I'll just show you a trick again. You see there, sometimes you can see that carrying yarn. You just kind of see it peeping through here, between the last stitch and the chain 2. Now if that's a nuisance to you, what you could do is just in that last stitch here, this last stitch, I'm going to undo that last stitch there. Also again catch the yarn from the previous round. So what I'm going to do is going to go into that stitch and then grab that carrying yarn from the previous round, and that's what this is going to do, is going to force it out of view. You see there, it's no longer present there in that little gap. So you see now you can't see it anymore. And then here close with a slip stitch and bring up your working yarn. So you see now it's not there anymore. And likewise, the carrying yarn here, when you come with the next stitch, next round, catch that and pull it up. You see how I've caught that thread there? That used to be there in front of the gap, but now I've kind of pushed it behind stitches. So you see here, you still see a little bit, you still see that carrying yarn there. And then the next round you could work that away if you want. But these are all little details you see here with these 2 threads and with that thread, to just hide them extra if you want. If you don't want to, that's also fine. What I've now shown you is 3 rounds of working this square. And if you're going to work 4 rounds, 5 rounds, it stays the same. In one of the corners you change yarns colors, and for the rest just carry your yarn along with you. And that's the most important thing, is that when you carry this yarn, that you don't see it shining through. That's the most important thing. And these details I showed you here in the corners, those are extras if you want to get it real crisp. But as such, you would now work around 3, and at this point, or around 4 I should say, and at this point you would change colors again. I've now chosen to start with the white, but you could just as easily start with the blue. And I've now decided to work 2 white edges and then work 2 blue edges. But you could work 1 white edge, then change colors, work 2 blue edges, and then work a white edge again. That's also possible. So these are all variations that you can use depending on what the pattern geometry asks you. Sometimes when you do a join as you go, it might be easier to start here, and sometimes when you know, okay, I'm going to be turning the work, it might be easier to start here. That kind of all depends on what you're doing. But I've now shown you how to do a solid granny square join as you go. We've done the first 3 rounds, but rounds 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are all exactly the same.